Hey, good evening and welcome to tonight's webcast. While people are logging in and just getting ready for this, and we're going to give a few minutes for that to happen because we know what it's like. We're just getting there, it's the evening, you've run in from work, you've got dinner sorted and everything's sorted, and now you're settling down for the webcast. So we'll give a few minutes just for that to happen. While people are doing that, do me a favor, drop your name and where you're watching from in the chat. It'd be great to see that. Now, I must let you know, we are having a slight technical challenge with seeing the chat tonight. We're not quite sure what's happening, but please go and put your name and your location in the chat anyway. We're hoping to get it up and running so that throughout this webcast, you can put your questions in the chat and hopefully I'll be able to see them and answer them. If for any reason we can't get our chat running, then all I'm going to ask is just email us, and we'll be putting up the email a little bit later. And we're more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. So please forgive us if we've got this technical challenge with the chat tonight, but we want to deliver something of real quality for you tonight. So I know people are still logging in, still getting online and getting settled down. I would encourage you, if you've got a notepad and pen, it might be worth having that handy just to scribble down some notes, some things that I will say. It might spark some ideas and some thoughts that you'll be able to put in place on your own LinkedIn profile. So tonight we're going to be talking about the 4 principles of LinkedIn success. This is quite a broad, overarching topic that we're doing tonight. And so I want to give you a big picture view of 4 elements that need to work together on LinkedIn. So we'll just give a few more seconds, let people just settle in and get logged in, and then we will start. I still can't see the chat, but hopefully we'll get there. There's people in the background sorting that out, hopefully, and we'll get it up and running. And I'll be able to see who's with me tonight and who's watching. And so anyway, so this is an Oxlep event, if you weren't aware. And so we welcome everybody from the Oxfordshire area. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about the work of Oxlep and how you can access some great tools and some features and some resources through Oxlep in just a few minutes. So I think we should make a start around about now. I think people are starting to settle in and looks like the numbers are coming in now. So I'm going to make a start. So as I said, this is 4 principles of LinkedIn success. Just to kick off and introduce myself, who is this stranger that's on your screens at the moment? Well, my name is Terry Heath and I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Maverick. If you've never heard of Maverick, where have you been? We're actually the UK's largest social selling coaching and training company in the UK. We've got offices here as well as in America, and we've been growing a lot in the last 18 months with what's happened and just being a part of that. And we are really enjoying by partnering with Oxlep to bring training to people who are in the Oxfordshire area, whether you be a startup or a multi-million-pound business. It doesn't matter. What we're bringing tonight will help everybody. So let me just introduce Oxlep. So we've been working with Oxlep and providing training through webinar base for around about 2, maybe coming up 3 years. And it's been a great partnership and we've really enjoyed that. And so I wanted to just inform you as well, and I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that there are some great resources available through Oxlep. If you've never accessed the website, go and check them out, oxlepbusiness.co.uk. But one of the particular ones that I want to stress is just the peer networks. This is a great resource and a tool for businesses just to get connected, really help and support each other. And they've been running this for quite some time. I think this is launched just a couple of months ago. You can see the web address is there on the bottom of the screen. Go and have a look, check it out. There are some other resources as well that you'll find on that site, and it's a great organization that can help your company to scale up and grow, help you develop what you're doing, and obviously make your business a lot stronger. So go check them out. Okay, so let's focus now on the 4 principles of LinkedIn success. The first thing you need to know about LinkedIn, it is a huge platform with over 774 million users currently, and that's growing day by day. In over 200 countries and territories worldwide. So there's a huge opportunity here. You may not know, but LinkedIn is driving 46% of the social media traffic to B2B websites. That is massive. 46% of the traffic that's coming to B2B websites is coming from LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is very influential in this area, and it should not be ignored. Here's another stat as well. If you look at the chart there, you'll see that LinkedIn far outweighs Twitter and Facebook when it comes to lead generation. In fact, I think just rough maths, if you put Twitter and Facebook together, LinkedIn is almost twice those. So you can see the impact you can have on LinkedIn, the opportunities and the potential that is there. But here's the question. So why do so many people find it hard to secure new business on LinkedIn? If LinkedIn is this great platform for generating leads, much better than Twitter and Facebook, why are people still struggling on LinkedIn? It's something that we hear day in, day out, week in, week out here at Maverick, as we're working with clients and they're telling us, look, we've tried LinkedIn. We had a go, it just didn't work for us. We couldn't get it. The investment of time for the returns just didn't make sense. Well, that's because there's some basics going on. There are some basic issues. Number one is simply poor content. I'm going to be talking about content as one of the principles. The next one is poor connections. Networks filled with the wrong people. It's just one of the big common issues that we find when we're working with clients. The next one is no engagement. I'll talk about what that is and what those engagements are and the sort of things you can do on LinkedIn to get people's attention and build awareness. And then no conversations. A very common thing is that because of all of the other stuff that came before, people are not getting to the point where they're striking up conversations with individuals, which leads to the new business, which leads to that sale, which leads to that new opportunity. So I'm going to walk you through 4 different areas that will help you build your presence on LinkedIn, help you move forward, and towards the end of this, I'm going to talk about a strategy that we here use at Maverick day in and day out. This is what our sales team use. Called the 7 steps of social selling, which ties this all together. So let's start. So the 4 principles of success on LinkedIn include content, connection, engagement, and conversion. I know what you're thinking, engagement. If it only had been a C, I'd have had 4 C's. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. But so we've got content, connection, engagement, and conversion. And imagine them like the image on the screen there. It's about the 4 cogs. These cogs have to work together, each one doing their job that drives everything forward for a social selling strategy. Now it's got to work together, each element doing its part. And that's what I'm going to walk you through is the content, the connection, the engagement, and then the conversion. And I want to clearly illustrate for you how each area is important, how they work together, and how it builds towards a strategy that you can use to create those conversations that lead to new business. So let us first start with content. This is one of the big issues on LinkedIn. You may not know it, but on the platform, on LinkedIn, you will find that only, I think the current stat is less than 1% of the users on LinkedIn actually posted any content in the last 30 days. Less than 1%. Why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons. There's people there looking for recruitment. There's people there using LinkedIn like a glorified directory. People looking for information rather than adding content themselves. So you've got an opportunity, because if you add content to this platform on a consistent basis, you will soon be favored by the algorithm. LinkedIn loves it when you add content to this platform because they can take it and populate people's feeds. They have to put some new, fresh content in your feed every single morning. Where are they going to get it from? They get it from the people who contribute, but they also have a team. LinkedIn themselves now have a team, a whole army of people who are writing content for this platform because of the issue of being content starved. So your content can be leveraged to get your voice out there, to get you seen, to get you recognized, and even establish yourself as a leading voice in your particular area, your particular expertise, because you can be there consistently. Now, whenever you put up content on LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you an example of one of my own posts to illustrate this in just a few minutes. But we use the acronym TASTE, that your content should be, I was going to say should be tasted, that's poor English, but your content should have taste. And what is taste? Well, the first thing is to teach. That what you put out should educate the people who read it. It should say something about you and about your company, about your products and your offerings. Use your content to inform people, to educate people who you are and what you're doing. Actionable is the next one. Give actionable advice. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, it's about giving away that free tip, that little hint that someone can take away and apply in everyday life, and it makes a difference. It's the free giveaway stuff that you know, this will help, but they'll need so much more. And what you're doing is seeding your expertise out there by letting people know what it is that they can access from you. By the free stuff that you give away, they see value in who you are and what you have to offer. But what we find is that when someone picks up that free tip, that hint, and then they take it and apply it, they'll come back looking for more. They'll remember where they got it from and they'll come looking for more. And this is one of the things we want to happen on LinkedIn is you become memorable. The next one is solve pain. People buy because of pain. Pain will motivate people to buy. We use the analogy a lot of the time. If I've got toothache, and my mouth is absolutely throbbing, the only thing on my mind is get that tooth out, get that pain removed. Now, I might be positioned with two different dentists who, dentist number one says to me, come to my surgery, we're part of a national chain, we have orthopedic chairs that even massage you while I'm extracting that tooth. Would you be interested in coming to my surgery? Sounds appealing, yeah. A massage while the tooth's getting taken out might help with the pain issue and distract a little bit. But then dentist number two comes and says, does that really hurt? Is it, you feel like your whole head is throbbing? And I'm like, yeah, this guy's speaking my language. He said, if I told you I could get you booked into our surgery in the next hour and have that tooth out and the pain will be gone, would you be interested in booking an appointment? Guess which dentist I'm going to? Number two. He identified with my pain, he talked my language, I'm appreciating that he understands where I am, and he offered me a solution. Here's the truth. I don't know what his dental surgery looks like. For all he is, he's a backstreet guy with a pair of pliers and a hammer and a chisel, and he's going to take the tooth out. But he addressed my pain and offered me a solution. And now he's got my attention. And this is what you want to do with your content on LinkedIn. Address the pain. We even go as far as we have a term called rubbing salt in the wounds, that if we talk about the issue that you're going through, then we'll even expand on that and say, does that run over into A and B and C areas of your business? Is this causing problems even in your home life because this issue is there day in and day out? What if we could help you resolve that issue? So you can focus on the pain, illustrate it, because that's where people are at. When they're looking for solutions, if you speak their language, they'll come and listen to you. If you speak about the things that they're going through, their everyday experiences, the challenges, the issues they have in business, they will come and listen to you. And therefore, you position yourself to be able to present your service, your offering, your product, whatever it may be. The next one is transformation. So transformation is all about telling the story of the successes, the people you've worked with, where you've had the accolades, the recognition, all of those things, because that builds a knowledge base and a trust base with your audience. They're looking to qualify who you are because you're just another person speaking about the area that they have a concern with. But why should they come to you? Seeing the everyday, the real life situations where you're giving, let's say, a case study where you've worked with a company or an individual and this was the outcome, A, B, and C, that they see that as real life and they recognize it, they identify with it, and it adds to the confidence level to the point that they build up enough trust to say, okay, let's have a conversation with this person about our problem, our solution that we're looking for. And the last one is experience you. When it comes to your content on social media, don't forget it is a social platform. Some of the mistakes that are made with LinkedIn is that people put up nothing but business content all the time. I can guarantee you if you do that, you will bore your audience and it will limit the reach of your content. You need to seed in there a little bit about who you are, what you're doing. Be open and vulnerable. Do that thing that most people don't do on social media, is have that whinge, have that, those moments when you're like, yeah, this week has been a tough week in the business because of A, B, and C. You'll be surprised with the people who can respond and offer advice and help. But let people see you. If you're someone who humor is a big part of who you are and your character, let that come out on LinkedIn. Maybe you're a bit more serious and a bit more focused, a factual-based person. Well, again, let that come out. Share those facts, share those interests that you have on LinkedIn. The truth is, at some point, you're hoping that you build a relationship and move it to a point where they want to have a conversation with you. So at the moment they meet you on the video call, the phone call, or even in person, how much better would it be if they already have an idea of who you are and your character? It makes the whole breaking the ice at that meeting a lot simpler and a lot easier. So share stuff about yourself. Not every day, just every now and again, let people have a little glimpse of who you are. So teach, educate people, actionable, give away those free tips and hints that will actually help people so that they see value. Solve pain. Talk about the pain points that your prospects, your clients, your customers may have that you can resolve. Transformation. Give examples of the results. Let people see the real life working out of what you offer so that they can see and they can make that assessment that this looks good and we need to have a conversation. And let them experience you. That needs to be there so that they understand who you are. They're going to trust you at some point and they will give you their finances so that you can bring a solution. So let them introduce yourself in a sense to them and let them build a confidence in who you are. So once we've got our content in place. Oh, let me go back. I was going to show you an example of what I mean by, okay, let me just switch out screens. Okay, so very quickly, I just wanted to show you what I mean by having your content. And without going into this, I'll be honest, you can catch us on some other of our webinars. Where we talk specifically about content, we talk specifically about connections and stuff like that, all that we've done with Oxlep. So go check them out. You can find them, I believe, on Oxlep's company page on LinkedIn. If you go to the events and look at past events, you'll find the replays in there. But very quickly, there's a way of presenting your content on LinkedIn which works very well. As you'll see on the example on screen, that the way I've laid out my post, it's all line separated. I'm making it easy for people to read. The information that's in there, I've got 5 points in there that I'm talking about that just bullet point, get people thinking, get people focused. You'll see there are links in there for people to visit for more details of services and workshops. But then I'm also using imagery that catches the attention. Remember, your content is going to sit in somebody's feed. They will see initially your profile, your name. They'll see the headline, the see more, and the image that goes with your content. So those elements have to work together to get people to stop and have a look at your content. A view on LinkedIn is somebody spending 3 seconds or more on your content. Now, that doesn't sound a lot of time, but actually 3 seconds in the decision process, should I read this post or not, is quite big on LinkedIn and other social media channels. So use imagery that is bright, striking, catches the attention. Use titles on your content that spark the curiosity and get people to come and have a look. Then get it set out. And so, you get that, then you'll get all your comments and things going on like that. So, very simply, 5 essential ways to achieve organic business growth was a post that I put out. And so, good imagery, make it easy to read, use bullet points if you're stressing issues, but focus on the things that matter to your audience and to your prospects. Okay, let me go back into the presentation and we'll move on now to connection. So, there are various ways of growing your connections. And one of the issues that we find when we're working with people who are just starting to get going on LinkedIn is that their current network does not fit with what they're currently doing. So very often people will change jobs and move, maybe even industries or even professions altogether. So for extreme example, you might have been a chef previously and your network is now 50% people involved in the food industry. Now you've moved out of being a chef, now you're in sales. So that part of your network is almost irrelevant now, because that part of your network is interested in food and industry and creating meals and whatever chefs and people talk about. Now you're in sales for, let's say, software development. So it's a totally different network that you need to have. So there is always going to be, particularly if you've changed industries, changed jobs, a rebuilding of your network. And so when people start posting their content and putting up there and they think, I'm not really getting any reach, I'm not getting anybody engaging with this, it's likely that your current network doesn't fit the target audience that you're after today. So you're going to have to work on that and build that up. And it takes a little bit of time, but it's worth doing the work. Target the individuals, know who they are, and then go and do the process of connecting with them. I'm going to talk about that process at the end, about the 7 steps of social selling that enables you to make sure you have a good connection rate and that you get the conversations. So when it comes to growing your connections, the best way to grow your connections is with targeted connection requests. Currently on LinkedIn, you can send out 100 connection requests per week. You're limited to 100. So if you've only got 100, make them targeted. Now, some of you might be thinking, 100? That's 20 a day. That's quite a lot. Well, actually, if you're developing business on LinkedIn and you're looking to grow your network, it isn't actually that much. I used to previously, before the limitations were in place, would send out that in a day. But you've now got 100, so make them targeted. Do the searches on LinkedIn. If you've got Sales Navigator, even better. Build your lead lists and target the individuals, your ideal clients. Who is that audience that you need to be speaking with? That's who you build your network with. Who are the companies that you would like to get in front of, get a foot in the door to have a conversation? Those are the people that you should be targeting with your connection requests. There is a quick way of building your network, which is a facility in LinkedIn that not a lot of people are using or may not even be aware of, which is the bulk email list upload. We nickname it the shot in the arm here at Maverick. And let me just illustrate. Let me go back to my LinkedIn and what this is. So if I navigate to my network and I go into my connections, you'll see over on the right-hand side that I can add personal contacts, so I could email somebody effectively and say, hey, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn, and they come to LinkedIn and they get signed in and can accept that. But underneath, there's more options. By clicking on more options, it takes me to another screen where I've now got the opportunity to upload contacts from Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, AOL, or individual emails. But this last one is upload a file. So if I click on that, and I've got a file prepared here from one of our events, I bring that file in. Now, as long as the email addresses are all in the same column on that spreadsheet or in that CSV, LinkedIn is clever enough to filter out all the other information and focus just on the emails. So when I click upload now, let me just do that. What's happening now is that LinkedIn is looking around the platform to see, is that email present on the platform being used where somebody has registered an account? And it will return all of the results for me. As you can see there, it's returned 695. If I just very quickly, let's see if I can get this working quickly, just scroll to the very bottom of the screen, you'll see them all coming up. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm going to show you a little tip, a tool that you can take away. If you ever do this, it will save you so much time. Because you can see against all of those names there is a little box that you have to tick if you're choosing to connect with that individual. As I've got 695, I do not want to sit there and click all 695. So I'm simply scrolling to the bottom of the screen. Let's see if I can get there very quickly. I'll stop there just for the sake of time. There is a little app, and you'll see it come up, a Chrome extension called Click All Checkboxes. Very simple. If I now click that, wait a second, it's now working down. There we go. It's now ticked all of those. What was that? 640. And I click, and now I've sent those. There is a little bit of a glitch on LinkedIn at the moment. When you click that, nothing seems to happen. But if you quickly go to your network and go to your pending invitations and the manage section and the sent, you'll see 2 seconds ago, all of those connection requests are going out. It's the default connection request. Terry has discovered you on LinkedIn and would like to connect. It says something like that. There's no tailoring of the message at all. It's a bulk upload and a send it out. It's very good for if you have a CRM, lists of previous clients, current clients, email lists, upload them into there and send them a connection request. In those instances, you will find quite a high acceptance rate because they already know who you are or who your company is, and so you're immediately recognizable and they're likely to connect. So it's a great way of boosting your network. So if you didn't know about that one, there's a tip you can walk away with and do straight away. So the best one is targeting with your connection requests, the 100 a week that you've got. The quickest way is do the email upload. Don't abuse the email upload as in, oh, I'll go and buy data and I'll just keep uploading, because LinkedIn will detect that and will stop you from connecting through that method. So use it legitimately, use it from your CRM, previous and current clients. I would highly recommend, or prospecting lists that you currently have. That's what I would stick to. If you're running events on LinkedIn, you can actually download the list of attendees at your events and upload this way as well. When you are connecting though, one of the key things is to mainly focus on second degree connections. And the reason for that is that LinkedIn, built in within the algorithm, is the expectation that you will connect relationally. So through your first degree connections, it's expecting you in a sense to be introduced to their connections who are your second degree connections. And that's how it works. If you start targeting lots of third degree people to connect with, LinkedIn will see that as an unusual behavior, and you will find that you'll get notices of limitations, potential limitations on your account. So stick to second degrees. You can put in the odd 1 or 2 third degrees if you think they're significant enough people you'd like to be connected with, but make it mainly second degree connections that you're trying to connect with. Another great place to find people to connect with is who viewed your profile. If you've got your profile set up correctly on LinkedIn and it's attracting people in, people are finding you through searching or through the topics that you talk about, have a look in the section. You go into your profile and into your dashboard and you'll see a section of who viewed your profile. Keep an eye on that. I regularly go in there. So once or twice a week I'm in, well actually probably once or twice a day now that I'm actually in there. What I'm looking for are patterns. I'll start seeing over a period of time the same faces popping up. They're coming backwards and forwards to my profile, so there's obviously something they've seen, something I've said that interests them. So these are people probably worth connecting with because there's already something that's engaged them. So let's connect and let's see if we can get a conversation going to see what it is that's engaged them on my profile that could lead to new business. Also check the open connections of competitors. Now, a slightly dubious one. Again, let me just jump back to LinkedIn. Hopefully I can find an example what I mean by that. Let's have a little look here. Nope. You might have to give me a second just to find somebody in my network who has their connections open. And what I mean by their connections open is when you go to their profile, where it says connections, you'll see them highlighted in blue if they're open. She's only got 3 anyway. Let me see. Invitations, right. I might have to dig a little deeper here. All right. Here we go. So Vicky here is a great example. So Vicky's connections are highlighted in blue. Effectively, anywhere you see blue text on LinkedIn, it's a hyperlink to something else, so you can have a look. So on this particular case, it's her connections. She's got 304, which is very low. If I go into there, I can now start using the filters at the top. Take out the first degrees because I'm not interested, I'm already connected to those. Let's have a look. 248 people in her network. If she was my competitor, I now have access to her contacts on LinkedIn. Potentially these are people she's doing business with right now or trying to nurture towards a conversation to sell them a product or service. What I can do is jump in and start going, okay, let's have a look at Sophie here. She looks an interesting prospect. And I click connect. I send my own connection request off. And before Lucy knows it, I'm now having a conversation as her competitor, and I've just undercut her and I've taken that away. So sometimes looking, if the connections are open on your competitors, go and have a look. But of course, they're chasing the same people that you would be chasing, the same sort of crowd, the same sort of audience. So it's a quick and easy win to find people who would be interested in your products and services. Just be aware they can do that to you as well. So make sure that you lock down your account. You do that in the settings. I don't have time to go into it, but go and check it out in your profile and your settings in the visibility section. Okay. So target people with connection requests with 100 a week that you've got. Personalize the connection message that you send to the individual, which will highly increase the possibility of them accepting the connection request. If you want to do quickly and you've got access to good data, then use the bulk email list upload. Focus mainly on second degree connections and check your who viewed your profile section and check the open connections of your competitors. But as I said, make sure that you've locked down your own connections, that others can't do that to you. Okay, so we've done content, we've done connections. Now let's look at the third cog in this whole mechanics of this, which is the engagement. So when it comes to engagement, there's three areas that we're looking at, which is the awareness, the introduction, and the conversation. You have to appreciate that on LinkedIn, that when you start to approach somebody, you approach somebody as a total stranger. They may have come across you in other circles, it is possible, but in most cases, you'll start from being a stranger and you have to build up some awareness. The problem that's happening on LinkedIn is people send you a connection request, and you've experienced this, because if you've been on LinkedIn more than 5 minutes, you'll have been hit with this. You've been sent a connection request, you think, looks interesting, I accept. The moment you accept, you suddenly get War and Peace sales pitch. You have hardly learnt their first name and they're already pitching you their product or service. Nobody responds to that stuff. Nobody's interested in that stuff. And to be honest, when it happens to me now, I normally go and remove that person from my network. I'm not interested. You have to genuinely get interactive with the individual. It's the same thing. If in real life you wouldn't walk straight into a networking environment, any business conference, walk straight up to a total stranger and start pitching them. No, you would get to know them, get to know about them, get to know about their business, what are their products, their offerings, what are their challenges, what are the things that they have the issues with, and you're looking for that information that says, okay, I have a solution, let me present this to you. But that's a process that takes time. It's the same on LinkedIn. So don't do the connect and pitch strategy. It just doesn't work. Create awareness. How do you create awareness? Well, simply putting, and I'm going to talk about the multi-threading in just a second, which is an important feature, but awareness can be built by first visiting somebody's profile. By doing that, you show up in their section of who viewed their profile. You do the interactions. The interactions can be liking their content, commenting on their content, resharing their content. You could be following the individual before you even connect, which means you will see their content. You could even go as far as endorsing one of their skills or expertise on their profile as well. Every time you do one of these interactions, you show up in their notifications section. And effectively what you're wanting to do is over a period of days is keep showing up. You're populating that notification section so that they see you time and time again. They start getting used to seeing your face, which is your profile picture, and your name in the notification section. What will happen is, because we're all human beings, we're all instinctively curious, we will click. Who is this person who keeps coming to my profile, is the question that we ask ourselves. And to find out, it's as simple as a click. We go through the profile. That's exactly what you want to happen. So you seed in all of these notifications by doing different interactions on their profile to get their attention. You can even track this by looking at your own Who Viewed My Profile. Let's say you have a list of 20, 25 prospects that you're chasing down. You do all the interactions. Are they now looking at your profile? You can track that. Now, every time they come to your profile, they're learning a little bit more about you, understanding you and your company and your products and your offerings. So you want that to happen multiple times. So hence why you do interactions yourself, to create that awareness over a number of days, not just as a one-off activity. Now, I mentioned multi-threading. Multi-threading is actually a principle that is built into the LinkedIn algorithm. I had a conversation with somebody at LinkedIn, probably coming up a year ago now, and he mentioned this phrase, multi-threading, which at that point I said, stop. What do you mean multi-threading? Built into the algorithm is the expectation that if you're going to connect with somebody, you will first visit their profile. You would obviously have a look around and learn something about them. You might be looking at their content and liking it, maybe even commenting on it. You may choose to follow this individual and watch their content for a while before you make the decision, okay, this person looks worthy to be a part of the network, so let's actually send a formal connection request so that we can have a two-way dialogue. That's the expectation, and that is built into the algorithm. And LinkedIn call it multi-threading. And this builds in all of the interactions, all of the expectation. You will find, because this is built into the algorithm, if you shortcut that process, you just find somebody in a search, you don't even go to their profile, you just immediately click connect and send connection after connection after connection. Very quickly, you will find that LinkedIn throws up a notification that says your activity is above that of the usual user on LinkedIn. If you continue to do it, you'll find your first restriction comes in. You might lose the ability to connect for 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. And if you keep doing it, you can then get the ban for a week, a month, and the largest one, well, the most severe one we had in our office was one of our staff members went a little bit overboard, and he got banned from connecting for 3 months. The most severe example of that would be somebody who is actually removed from LinkedIn. That's rare, but we have seen cases of that where people have abused that facility. So do the interactions. I'm going to talk about how that comes into the 7 steps of social selling at the end of this. But you need to do those. And you can also position your content to create awareness. Doing simple things by tagging in a company or tagging in an individual in your comments, excuse me, into your comments or into the actual copy in the post, obviously will get their attention as well. Whenever somebody is mentioned in somebody else's post, it's a compliment. So doing things like writing I'm trying to think this off the top of my head, but writing a post where you reference the content somebody else has put. So, hey, as you can see in Terry Heath's content, or in the comment he made on his post last week, and so I tag that person in, I reference something I read on their content, and I'm complimenting them by including them in my post. But what I'm really doing is pulling their attention to the topic that I'm talking about, so that I can illustrate to them my expertise, my level of understanding in this area, and how I can help. So you can use that. So once you've created the awareness, you're then into the introduction. So by the time you send a connection request, if you have done the multi-threading right, they should already recognize your face, they know your name, they know something about you and something about the company. They're not naive to what you do, what you sell, what products or services that you have. So the likelihood of them accepting your connection request is now really high. Personally, I work on the benchmark that 75% of the connection requests I send out are accepted. Sometimes I can get that as high as 90% because I do the work prior to sending the connection request. Do it right, build up the relationship, and then when the connection request goes, it's highly likely for it to be accepted. Prior to doing that though, you can use the in-mails. Now if you're on Sales Navigator or premium subscriptions, you will have an allocation of in-mails, which means that you can message someone directly even before your first degree connections. The person at the other end has to accept the message before they can read it, but it's a way of connecting and starting a conversation, starting that relationship on the platform before you're even connected. And there are some cases in which you can use that. Once you're connected though, to get that person's attention, to really instigate a conversation, you want to use everything that's available to you. And two of the really effective ways are the audio message and the video message. Sending someone audio message, you can do this very quickly off the LinkedIn app on your phone or iPad or whatever tablet you've got. But the fact that it's an audio message, unlike the written one, as soon as you open it, you see it, you decide, I don't want to continue reading. For them to know what it's about, they have to click into it. So you do an audio message, which is 10, 15 seconds long, introduces yourself, but it's more personalized. So people respond to it more favorably. And even more so, the video message. There's something about getting a video message. I do them sometimes and I receive them sometimes. It's appreciating that someone took the time to do a video that's personalized to you to make that connection. And as individuals, as human beings, we respond well to that. So use those opportunities to really instigate the relationship, get it moving, and instigate that conversation in the early days. When it comes to the conversation side, we've created awareness. Awareness is built to the point that now we have a positive introduction and our connection request has been accepted. Now we start a dialogue where we're now initiating the conversation that we want to then progress to the point that we're having a business conversation about a proposal, a deal, whatever it may be. Nobody's naive on LinkedIn. Everybody knows we're there for business. So don't shy away from the conversation and leading there. There is a little bit of an art of moving it from general chit chat into more business focused, and we do cover that in one of the webinars coming up. But basically, be relational. Don't treat the person like they're just another digit and a number for you to go and sell to. Treat them as an individual, get to know them, have a look at their profile, research the company a little bit, know their products and services. Try and think about what it is, what are the common challenges that they have that you solve, and hone in on those. Ask about those things. Tease out with really simple, easy questions. You know that they are highly likely to answer, but doesn't take them long to respond to. The process of doing that is you educate people into a conversation. The truth about LinkedIn is that most people's interactions on the conversation side is, I get the connection request with a message, I accept, and they follow it with, hey, thank you for connecting, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing on LinkedIn. That's the end of the conversation. It's 2-3 interactions and it's over. So when you can get a conversation that goes into the 4th and the 5th interaction, what you will find is that people get curious. Where's this going? What is the conversation? What's happening here? And so they stick with the conversation and they're more likely to then progress through to the point where you say, do you have this issue? Do you have this challenge? Have you found this? I've worked with a number of clients that have this challenge. Have you experienced similar? Those sort of things, and now you're starting to tease out the information from them that helps you know where to take the conversation and how to get to the sales pitch stage. Educate to converse, which was what I was saying is about getting those interactions going that they then stay with the conversation. Ask those leading questions. Don't just rush straight in on the 2nd or 3rd interaction going, hey, I've got a great product, I'd love to show you, can we jump on a call? Because they're going to go, whoa, I don't even know who you are, I don't know what your products or services are. The process of the interactions and the conversations, what's happening outside of that is they will want to remind themselves who you are and what you do. So they'll go and visit your profile again. So all of that activity will be happening. So make sure you ask easy leading questions and build up steadily. The process that I'm going to talk to about the end, the 7 steps of social selling, includes this, and that whole process can take 2 to 3 weeks on average to get to the point where I was a stranger, now we're having a conversation, there's a mutual trust now going on, and so we're developing and moving towards a potential phone call, video call, or meeting in person. But identify the need. In that conversation, Ask the leading questions that helps you identify the need that they have, particularly the one that you can solve, that product and service that you have that just helps. So progress it. Build awareness first. You start from the point of being a stranger, so you need to make them aware of who you are, what you do, who your company is, your products and services. Then once you hit the introduction side, they should know who you are at the point the connection request arrives. Then you go on to initiate the conversation. Once that conversation is moving, be relational. Don't be scared of just being more on that personal level, but ask those leading questions that build and build to more information that they're sharing for you to give you the cues and the guidance you need to get forward and identify that need. So content, connections, engagement, and our last one is the conversion. This is where everybody wants to get to, that we've got to a point. And what I must say is a lot of people say, I really want to sell my products. Really want to sell my products and services on LinkedIn. Your goal on LinkedIn is not to get the sale there. It's to get the conversation that leads to the sale. With that in mind, you will change your approach. You will change how you structure your conversation and your approach to individuals. That it's not about securing the sale here and now. It's about getting the conversation that then gives you the opportunity to get the sale. So create conversations with interested buyers. Interested buyers depends on your targeting, who you're connecting with, who you're building your network with. If you're building with genuine prospects, you're building with people who are likely to be interested in what you have to offer. They become the interested buyers. To achieve it, you need a strategy, without a doubt. Too many people on LinkedIn are it's scattergun approach. Let's put as much out there as possible and see if something lands and somebody gets back to us and asks us a question. That's not going to happen. You might get the odd one or two people who come back to you and say, hey, I saw what you said about this, can we talk more? But they are rare. You have to be intentional and have a strategy and how you're going to lead up and get those conversations. And so this leads nicely into the 7 steps of social selling, which is where we're going to end up. So talking about your content, talking about your connections, the engagement and the conversion, all of that's wrapped up into what we call the 7 steps of social selling. Now we've developed this and been using this, and we still use this day in and day out in our office. We start with a list of prospects. So rather than us have thousands of people in a list that we'd go after, and we might try, you could try the methods of mass emails, you might try copy and paste messaging to loads and loads of people time and time again. You'll find that that's not as productive as having a really targeted list of these are the people I'd like to have a business conversation with. Okay, so let's start with 20, 30, 40, 50 people on a list. And let's walk them through the 7 steps of social selling. So we start from that point that we've got to introduce ourselves, create that awareness. So we start interacting now with their content. We start visiting their profile. Remember what I said earlier about filling their notification feed. Your face, your name is showing up with the interactions that you do on their profile, with their content. Go and visit it on a regular basis. Spark the curiosity to the point that they're now visiting your profile to find out who you are. Why are you visiting their profile so much? You do that a number of times. So step 1 and step 2 normally take a week to 2 weeks. Just going back, visiting their profile, interacting, dropping comments in on their content is a great way. Even asking a question where the individual is tagged in as a comment on their content will get their attention and of course can start a dialogue early on as well. So let's create that awareness first in step 1 and step 2. Step 3 is the connection. At that point, you want to be sending a targeted connection request. What I mean by targeted is that the message you send with it is hyper-personalized to that individual. So look for information that's on their profile. Look to their company. What's happening in the company? Has there been a lot of growth in that company? If you've got Sales Navigator, you can look at the insights page on a company. You might see that they've had a 200% employee growth over the last 2 years. Talk about that in your message. Hey, I see there's been a lot of growth in your company. I think this is really exciting. Would love to find out more about how that happened, what instigated that. It would be great to connect. So you're now evidencing that you've taken the time to learn about them, you understanding a little bit about their business and what has been happening in their business at the moment, and it's just a friendly approach. What you don't want to do in a connection request is say, hey, I'd love to connect because I have a product that I think you'll be interested in. Don't go there. That's the sales pitch starting very early, and it will just scare people off and they will reject. So do the interactions, the multi-threading principle to the connection. Once you have them connected, you then want to follow up. Don't miss the opportunity that when somebody accepts your connection request, you need to follow up. Yes, thank them for connecting, that they took the time to consider you and have accepted you into their network. But now you ask a leading question. Now you want to educate them into a conversation. So ask something that you know is a topical question to ask right now. For instance, recently I was targeting people in the finance industry, and so a very topical one is, hey, are you still home-based, or have you managed to get back to the office by now? I know a number of our clients in your sector are still home-based. I'm looking for them to come back and say, hey, yeah, we're still home-based. No, we're all back in the office. And I'll have a little chit-chat. Is what, most of your team back in the office now, or you still got a few working remote? Oh, we've got a few remote. And it's just the chit-chat backwards and forwards at the beginning. But I'm taking an interest in their business and in who they are. And it's personal to them, whether we're working at home, back in the office. It's something that's personal to us, something that we're all experiencing. So start that connection. Get that going in the thank you message to instigate that conversation. But continue your interactions on their profile, visiting, liking, commenting, even endorsing them, so that you're still populating their feed, the notification feed. In other words, you're not forgotten. After the connection request, most people that you connect with, I can guarantee you a week later, you've forgotten you've accepted that connection request. You can't even remember their name. So what you want to do is populate that notification feed by still interacting with their content. If you're finding that they don't have any content themselves to interact with, go and have a look at their all activity section on their profile. It'll show you where they're liking and commenting on other people's. And you can piggyback on the third party post where they've commented and like their comment, or even comment and reply to their comment. It just keeps you, again, in that notification feed and keeps you in front of their eyes so they don't forget you. So keep that going. And at the same time you're doing it, you develop the conversation. As I say, we are doing a whole night where we will be talking about how you develop that conversation. So look out for that webinar coming up soon. To the point that you have the conversation. That conversation, what I mean by that is that's the business-focused sales conversation where you're now putting forward your proposal and hoping that they will engage with it and purchase whatever the product service from you. That might take place by phone, by video call, or in person, whichever is your preferred method. But have a strategy. If you want to know more about the 7 steps of social selling, feel free to email us at hi@maverick.co.uk. We'll be happy to share some more information with you about that. Also, if you want a copy, I think I've put it up there. There you go. If you want a copy of the slides of tonight that would help you and guide you through those 4 principles that I talked about your content, your connections, the engagement, and then moving forward into that conversion, feel free to contact us. We'll happily share the slides with you, and then you can put it together. But if you're new to LinkedIn, let me encourage you with this last thing is get a strategy, start building on it, start doing your content, importantly. Populate your feed, your personal feed with your content. Start talking about your area of expertise. Use the various content types of PDFs and polls and various things on LinkedIn that are available to you to vary your content. But get the conversation going through your content. Create awareness by posting regularly on the platform. And as you're doing that, build that network. As you're building the network and people are starting to accept your connection requests, then get into the stage of you're engaging them now, pushing through into the conversion stage. Have a strategy. Don't just go at this and just think, I'll put up any old content, see if I can get someone to reply. Be strategic in what you want to do and you'll get much better results. Well, thank you very much for watching. I do apologize that the chat, I keep looking at the screen, the chat hasn't popped up at all. But if you've got any questions at all, feel free to drop us an email at hi@maverick.co.uk. Just be careful how you spell Maverick because it's slightly unusual. And we'll get back to you. If you want the slides, you want any questions answered, please contact us. They'll get that email to me, or one of our team will respond to you, and we'll be happy to help. And I've left up there just the peer networks, just to remind you, this was hosted by Oxlep tonight, and they have some fantastic resources available. Visit their website, go check it out. You won't be disappointed. To everybody who's joined us, thank you for being with us tonight. There will be a replay available of this video, so just get in touch if you want that, and we'll be happy to forward that to you. But thank you very much for being with us, and I hope you have a good rest of the evening.